So my young friend Luke has been helping me to bake this pie, and I want to take a minute to show what a great job he did of cutting the cold butter into the cold flour and salt mixture. And he used a pastry cutter, which is pretty easy to find, and he just went up and down until the butter got broken down and mixed in pretty uniformly with the flour. Luke, my little friend, he's like 6 years old. He had never done this before, and he really stayed with it. He did a really great job. When I make it, I use 2 knives because that's how my mother taught me, and I just go back and forth like that and break up the pieces. So you can see that what happens is you try to get a really uniform mixture of the butter into the flour, and you try to work fast enough that it all stays cold so that the butter doesn't melt in the bowl and melt before it's baked. But the consistency of it is pretty much like oatmeal. And the faster you work so that it stays cold and it doesn't get mixed and in a liquid form, then that's why crusts tend to get tough, is you work with them way too long. And therefore, the 2 knives works, the pastry cutter works, and if you have a food processor, hooray, you'll probably have an even better pie crust winning pie because it goes very quickly and it makes very uniform pieces. If you see pie as being perfect, that's great. If you see it as an art form, a craft where you really learn the principles, then this is a great way to go. So I wanted to show you that so you sort of see what the texture looks like. And if they don't get uniform, you will have pieces of butter not integrated, but that's the point of a long baking process. So my little friends that made the pies, they took their crust home. They're going to put a filling in, bake it for half an hour at 425 with aluminum foil across the edges, which is what I did with this one. Because otherwise at 425, the smaller pieces will get too brown. And you know how that looks. It looks kind of burned. So to keep it uniform, I just put aluminum foil around the top, baked it at 425 for half an hour, then turned the pie halfway, 180 degrees, took off the aluminum foil, and let it finish for another 350. So this pie plate is glass. You can see from the bottom that the crust was brown enough that it was not gooey and it was not icky and soft. It got nice and brown. I like to often make small pies with little pizza pans because the metal helps to really make a crisper crust. And then at Lemon Street, if you're taking your pie to a party, I guess my friends took but they sell paper pie plates that you can bake in. So that's kind of finishing touch until you get to the point where there's one piece of pie left, and we'll give that to the photographer. So thanks again for that, and come to the pie contest first Friday in November at Tellus.